waste is a huge problem.
Yeah.
I think all of us know that. I mean, if you look in your refrigerator right now, how many things in there are you going to throw away in the next 3 days?
Probably
You know,
too many.
probably too many. And then you think about that. Why don't you multiply that times 1,000 for an arena or an institution? You know, like a hospital or a cafeteria. You know, it's a huge problem to the point where I would say in your fridge there's probably like 50% of things in there that you will never use. So then you have the other side, the children that are hungry in America. You know, there's like 13 million hungry children in America. 1 in 4 children are hungry in America. That's huge, huge. I hate to think of the 40% of food that's thrown out when we have 1 in 4 kids that are hungry in America today. So the way that you do that is you cross-utilize. You know, for example, I have about 3 different sauces that I use and manipulate on some of the stations in the kitchen. So when I am creating something, we're rarely ever throwing anything out. We're using it to the last bit because we're cross-utilizing it on stations. So another way that we reduce food waste in the kitchen is by family meal. Taking those cuts that we're not using, you know, for plating, or if we have any excess vegetables that we use when fabricating for a certain dish, we'll take that and we'll turn that into a meal for the restaurant. So that's another way. And then I would say the last way, or another way that I do it, is by trying to use every part of the vegetable, by trying to use every part of the animal, whether we're making a stock, you know, or we're throwing the vegetables into the broth, you know, or we're just using the non-desirable pieces on the plate because they should just taste good at the end of the day, right? I think it's really, really important that we know that we have a responsibility to kind of reduce food waste here in America. Some things that I do, like let's say if I'm going home and I've eaten a large meal, and a lot of times when we go out to eat as chefs or people that are in the industry, the restaurant or the chef at the restaurant will just send out a lot of food, you know, more food than you can possibly eat. So I'll wrap all that up to go, and if I'm walking past a homeless person or something, I'll give them that food. You know, usually you can find someone in need on your way home. Another way, when you're going grocery shopping, don't go grocery shopping hungry. That's for one, because then you pick every little thing that you're walking past. But 2, go with a list, make a plan. It's the same thing we do in the restaurants. You know, we don't just order from purveyors like, oh, I think this sounds good, I think this sounds good. It's like, no, we have this dish, we have this many people coming up. We create a prep list, and then we create a shopping list from that. And I think if you prepare before you go to the grocery store, like prepare a meal plan. Monday I'm making this, Tuesday I'm making that. I need X amount of tomatoes for this, and try to shop for less than what you think you're going to use. Because 9 times out of 10, you buy 5 heads of garlic when you really only need 1, you know? So I would make a plan, write it down, and make it happen. I think one of the things that I love that usually gets thrown away, especially like when I go to like a family member's house and they roast like a chicken or a turkey, is if you flip the chicken over, or the turkey, or any poultry, they have a little nub on the back of the thigh, and it's called the oyster of the bird, and it's the most tender, delicious part of the animal, and that gets thrown out a lot. So that's like my favorite part to eat of the animal, yeah.